In the co-main event of UFC 302, we have a big matchup at middleweight between Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa. This is a big matchup between two men that have very aggressive styles, but even bigger personalities outside of the cage. Paulo Costa is known on his social media, posts a lot of memes, skits, and so on. Very fan friendly. Sean Strickland is even more well known in the US for his personality. He is very outspoken, very brash, doesn't hold his tongue on anything, especially politics, but he also is a big jokester as well, usually makes fun of the media whenever they interview him and so on. So both men are very well beloved in the MMA space, and their styles are a recipe for a very good fight. Sean Strickland is very pressure heavy, not the biggest power puncher at all, but will stay in your face the entire time and make sure that you almost never hit him. Whereas Paulo Costa is a marauding bruiser with big power and big pressure as well. So this will be a very interesting matchup between two men that tend to love to put the heat on their opponent as the fight goes on. As for my prediction in this fight, I am leaning towards Sean Strickland. I just think that he has the edge in terms of being more efficient and technical. He is more limited in terms of his attacks. He is mainly a boxer that largely uses the jab. He will use a teep and his right hand from time to time, but largely just that jab and constantly defending shots. Whereas Paulo Costa, even though he has a wider range of attacks, he uses kicks more, he utilizes more punches. He is much more loose in terms of his defense. He also mainly will throw one shot at a time, mainly as pot shots when he has guys on the ropes. So I don't think he'll be able to get Sean there, and I think that Sean will be able to point out this fight. Currently ranked at number 1 at middleweight and number 14 in the pound for pound rankings, Sean Strickland is actually coming off of a loss in a title defense against Dricus du Plessis, so he is very eager to get back to that title. He is 28-6 currently with 11 KOs, 4 submissions, and 9 first-round finishes. He is a finely fundamental boxer with a very elusive Philly shell style. He is a very accurate jab. He rarely gets hit and will constantly take away that jab from his opponents with constant parrying. He is very good with his ground game as well. Very good wrestling, very good jiu-jitsu according to several sources. He just rarely uses it in the cage unless it is defensive. He will also use a very good teep in order to keep people out of his range when he wants to, and he has a very responsible kick-checking defense. Currently ranked at number 7 at middleweight, Paulo Costa is 14-3 with 11 KOs, 1 submission, and 9 first-round finishes. He is a very high-level finisher indeed. He is a big, marauding pressure striker with big power in his hands and kicks. He is very good at backing people up against the fence with his heavy pressure and unloading with big pot shots to the body and head. On the outside, he is very good with a very powerful right kick. He has some good wrestling as well and just a lot of strength considering his size, but also very impressive cardio to push the pace despite how big he is for the weight class. Keys to victory in this fight: Sean Strickland really needs to do what he does best, which is to get in his opponent's face early, take away that jab of his opponent's, and unload his own jab constantly to frustrate his opponent until they eventually start to lose some gas, where he can then start to unload with the right hand and other techniques. I think he will likely win this fight by decision if he gets the win. On the other hand, Paulo Costa really needs to stay on the outside in this one at first, utilize those big kicks from the right leg that he has, try to chew up the leg or the body, or even kick at the arms so he can start to wear out Sean Strickland's defense, which he is so dependent on with those parries, and eventually push Sean back to the fence where he can start to unload with big combinations. It would be a good idea for Paulo to also mix in some takedowns, because that has tended to be the best tactic against Sean Strickland in the past.